Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. My father passed away last week from cancer. By the time they found it, he only had a few weeks to months left. My dad has been raising me since my mom kicked me out at 15 to teach me responsibility and to be an adult. My dad heard and picked me up, and I moved in with him. My mom told me all these lies growing up, that my dad didn't love me, didn't want me, and never wanted to see me. He tried so hard to see me, but my mom had convinced him I didn't want to. She manipulated and lied to me into thinking my dad had no interest in me once they divorced. I'm now 24, living on my own and doing well. My dad and I got super close in the last almost 10 years, and he was such a help with all my issues I had growing up. When he passed, he left me with all the money and most of his stuff, but I have split it between his siblings. Yesterday, my mom came knocking at my door. I've moved states about 3 years ago and had no contact with her since she abandoned me. I'm not sure how she found my address, but she was acting like she was so happy to see me. Commented about how good I looked, how nice my apartment is, and said how much she missed me. She got upset that I haven't tried contacting her in the last 10 years, and it hurts that I just would abandon her like that. I just ignored her comment and asked her how she found me and why she was here. She said she found me from my aunt, my dad's little sister, after she had visited her after my dad's passing. She said she went to visit my aunt to see if she could get something my mom had given her when they first got married. She had also asked for my current address to check in on me. Now, I live at least a 12 to 14-hour drive from where I grew up. It's a surprise my mom actually drove all the way here to check up on me, but I had this gut feeling that it wasn't a normal checkup. I made lunch for us. Things were going normal, until my mom brought up my dad. She was saying she was upset she wasn't in the will, or if she wasn't contacted for the reading of it. I had explained that she wasn't mentioned, but whatever was left in my dad's house she wanted, she could have. We were still in the process of clearing it out, and there's a handful of stuff that no one wants. Mostly furniture, but a handful of other items. My mom was upset, mad that she didn't get anything, and even more upset that I said she could have the stuff no one else wanted. She should have been one of the first people contacted to clean out his house, because I'm his ex-wife. Then my mom asked me the question of what did I get in the will. I didn't lie. I said I got whatever money he had left and saved up, and she was pissed. She said it wasn't fair, since he supposedly never paid child support, that he should have given her some of that money. So she began telling me that she needed a few grand from the money I was given for taking care of me. It kind of shocked me that she was saying she wanted me to give her the money my dad owed her for about 15 years. I just stared at her, and after I finally registered what she said, I told her no. She flipped, saying that she was entitled to her money. I'm pretty sure my dad did pay her child support, because we would get a check once a month in the mail from him that my mom would instantly spend on herself. Yes, my mom used the child support money not for me, but on herself. I was lucky if she was nice enough to buy me a toy with the money. My mom was going off, and I had told her she needed to leave my apartment. She told me that I can't just kick out my guests. I told her my house, my rules, and to get out. She's crying, screaming about how dare I disrespect and kick out my dear mother, who drove all this way just to see me. If she really wanted to see me, she wouldn't have brought up the money. She's been blowing up my phone with texts and calls, and I'm at my breaking point. If giving her the money will shut her up and leave me alone for another 10 years, then I might just do it. Guys, seriously, help me out. She's not OP's mother. A mother doesn't abandon their kid. OP should not give her a single penny. If OP doesn't care about keeping in contact with her, I'd get a restraining order. And yes, exactly, she is an ex-wife. She lost all rights to his estate when they divorced. Child support is for the child, not the parent. She has no claim to any of OP's money. Children cannot be charged for being raised. And now let's see if the community agrees with me. Rose Fly says, giving in and handing her money will teach her that if she screams at you enough, she can control you and get what she wants. Block her number. If your apartment block has a concierge or security, ask that she is not allowed in and that she is harassing you. Ignore her and go on with your life, the way you have done since she kicked you, as a child, out at 15. You owe her nothing. Do not give in. because if you do, it will happen again and again. Boner Funeral says, "Don't give her a dime. My mom sent money to my adult brother every month up until she died. Guess who he came to after she was gone? I was an idiot. I lent him money whenever he needed it. It was always some end-of-the-world excuse to twist my heartstrings and make me feel like an a-hole, even if I didn't have it. I cut him off recently because he's a married adult, and I'm his little sister who is just getting by. Every message he sent me had become an anxiety attack. It was a crap show. He started to pull the S card, and I had to go no contact for my own health. Giving her anything is a direct invitation for her to keep asking." Wi-Fi Chick says, "She won't stop. She's entitled. She kicked you out at 15 and probably still got child support from your dad once you were gone. Block her. She's lying, and the court system keeps record if you are unsure. The fact she told your aunt she wanted to check on you, but the convo quickly turned to an angry 'where's my money' speaks volumes. He died, and she's the spiteful ex that wants everything. Don't pay her anything. Lock the doors. Keep records of this conversation. Block her, and be prepared to get a legal block for her to contact you. You made the right call 10 years ago with no contact. Just put it back in place." I, 34 female, grew up in an athletic family. My father was an athlete and owned a small gym to work and make a living. I was my parents' only child, and because of our financial hardship and my mom's condition, I did not continue my education and started working retail jobs of all sorts. Not something to be proud of, I know, but I was dealt a crappy hand in life and found comfort and outlet for my anger and frustration by exercising and bodybuilding. I stopped in my mid-20s, but in the past 3 years, I started working out and lifting again. I inherited my dad's last bodybuilding equipment and gear after his business closed due to his illness and then him passing away. It's all I got of him. It's not much, but I can't begin to describe the amount of strength I get from using my dad's bodybuilding and lifting gear. I feel positive and energetic after every workout session. I'm glad I get to do what I love, which is working out while remembering my dad. So my husband of 4 years has been having issue with employment in the past few months. He got kicked out of his previous job for false accusations of theft and hasn't found a job ever since. His brother's wedding is in a few days, and he wanted a new suit but couldn't afford it. I was away with my sister on a trip to see Mom, who's sick, for a few days, and when I got back, I discovered my bodybuilding gear was gone. My husband said he sold it for a decent amount of money we could both share. I blew up at him, asking why he touched the gear knowing it's my father's. He said he wanted to buy a suit for the wedding since he had none, and thought I wouldn't need the gear since he hasn't seen me use it for days, but that was because I was on a trip. We had an argument, and he said I overreacted, and that once he gets a job, he'll buy me better gear, but I told him I don't want it, just wanted the gear he took. He said we were lucky to get X money by selling it, despite being old, and asked me to calm down, but I kept lashing out at him. Then we stopped talking altogether. He apologized and said I was making a big deal out of it, but I told him he needed to return the money and bring back my gear, which caused us to argue a lot more, and he called me selfish for choosing this to be my hill to die on. OP might want to rethink how false that accusation of theft was at his last job, because he looks like he is clearly a thief. He stole something from OP so he could pay for something he wanted. He is never going to buy OP new equipment, and when he gets a new job, he's probably going to steal from them too. OP will never feel safe with him again, knowing that when she turns her back, he feels comfortable selling anything he wants to if it gets him something he wants. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Throwaway 17 says, "So he was fired for theft accusations, and now he waited until you were out of town to sell your valuable sentimental property, which is theft. I'm seeing a pattern." Emergency Yard says, "Looks like those theft accusations were not unfounded. Your husband has a fondness for other people's belongings. Ensure he gets it back before he spends the money on a wretched suit, not the a-hole." Hanging Out With You says, "Not the a-hole. He stole your inheritance with sentimental value and sold it. His statement of sharing the money is to disguise his selfish behavior. He sold it because he wants the money for himself to buy a new suit. His apology was crap because he turned around and blamed you again for the fight, for saying that you were overreacting. With this, are you really sure that he lost his job from a false accusation of theft? Because he definitely stole from his own wife." My partner and I are going through a bit of a rough patch. We live together, and he has 2 young kids. I jokingly asked him, "If we break up, will you get back together with your ex?" Meaning the mother of his children. I asked as a joke, expecting an absolutely not. But I guess you shouldn't ask questions you don't want the answer to. He said no, probably not. I was shocked. If you asked me if I wanted to get back with my ex, the answer would be absolutely no, not ever, ever, ever. I got really upset, and he said, "I said no. I just meant if I were single and miserable for a long time, I wouldn't rule it out, that's all." I'm honestly devastated. It makes me feel like if he isn't with me, he'd eventually go back to her. Even though I know he wasn't happy, but because he knows life was easy. No child support, he could be with his kids, etc. But he's the one who left in the first place. So it makes me feel like apparently being with me isn't as good as he was miserable in his marriage. Everything always comes back to his kids. Am I overreacting? The last couple weeks we've been on the fence about staying together, and this is just so upsetting, even though it's a hypothetical. And of course, if we weren't together, either of us could do whatever we want. But man, it makes me feel like absolute garbage. And worst fears confirmed. Gray-eyed Queen 7 says, "That kind of answer is pretty wishy-washy. He doesn't want to rule anything out. Yeah, okay. I don't think that means he doesn't want to be with you. I think that means he doesn't want to think about it." Hot Dog Squad says, "Sounds like you ducked around and found out. Don't go searching for answers you don't want. More than likely, if he did not have kids with her, this would not be a viable option for him in the future. But if he were given the opportunity to potentially be with his kids full-time again, I would think differently of him as a dad if he didn't at least reevaluate things before making a decision, with the presumption he is single at that point in time." Brady122 says, "As someone who is still incredibly insecure about my husband's ex, I know you didn't ask this as a joke, and that's okay. You shouldn't have asked, but give yourself some grace. You're in a tough spot that breeds insecurity and jealousy. I'm turned off by anyone who doesn't explicitly want me. I'm turned off by someone who would sacrifice their own happiness and let their kids witness a bad relationship for them. I promise you, I asked every hypothetical question about his ex. My biggest fear is them reuniting." One of my cousins, Peter, just had a baby with his girlfriend a few days ago. Peter and all his siblings all have very stunning blue eyes, which they inherited from their mom. They always get compliments on their eyes. Peter and his girlfriend posted a picture on social media of their baby girl today, saying she was born on the 23rd, and I decided to give Peter a call to congratulate him. When I called, he was with his girlfriend, and the phone was on speaker. I congratulated both of them and said their baby was gorgeous and that they'll be great parents. I then asked Peter, "Did she get your blue eyes?" In the picture they posted on social media, the eye color wasn't visible. Peter and his girlfriend's tone completely changed, and his girlfriend said, "Jesus, why are you so concerned with the eye color of my baby? It's ducking weird." I was pretty taken aback by her reaction. I didn't mean anything by it. I was just curious. I thought this was a normal conversation point. I tried to say I didn't mean to offend her and apologize, but she kind of cut me off and said they were really busy and they had to go. I told my mom what happened, and she said that Peter's girlfriend is a new mom and is probably just emotional and thought I was insulting her baby, but that I didn't say anything wrong. However, my sister said I was out of line and that the fascination people have with blue eyes is weird, and there were racial implications since Peter's girlfriend is biracial, half Jamaican. This didn't make sense to me. I never said not having blue eyes was bad. My eyes are brown. I was just curious. Am I the a-hole here? Edit. Yeah, okay. Peter called our family to thank my mom for a gift, and we talked a bit. I apologized again for offending them. He accepted my apology, but said his girlfriend is and was really mad at me, but she'll probably calm down in a day or two. He explained that they've been harassed by family members from even before the baby was born about whether the baby would have blue eyes, and his girlfriend is very annoyed by people's fixation on eye color and feels there's some R undertone to it, since blue eyes are white features, and that people think her baby would be any less beautiful if it didn't have blue eyes. Apparently, his mom said during her pregnancy, "Too bad she probably won't have blue eyes," and his girlfriend started crying and refused to talk to her for weeks. I feel really bad now, and he said the baby's eyes are gray. Bubba Luxky says, "Not the a-hole. Just so you know, it could be months before the baby's eye color develops. Most babies are born with blue-gray looking eye color, and it can take months, even up to 3 years, until you see what the true color of their eyes will be. I think you accidentally asked a sensitive question here, being unaware of the complexities of race and mixed-race babies, and the pressures darker-skinned people may face to have whiter features. Be lighter-skinned or not have brown eyes. It is very understandable that your, edit friend, was a bit hurt or even offended by your question. Butternut Attack says, "No a-holes. I think your sister could have a point about his girlfriend being half Jamaican having something to do with this. It's not a stretch to imagine her having to deal with a bunch of a-holes herself. Your mom could be right in terms of the intensity of girlfriend's reaction. I'd give her time, and then talk with her or Peter about it when she's less stressed." Cranky Old Man in his 30s says, "Not the a-hole. I'm sure his whole side of the family has already asked, and probably seemed disappointed when they found out that the baby doesn't have blue eyes. She was probably on her last nerve with that question."